The only remedy to past discrimination is present discrimination. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move. You don't have to. Is that only if you believe that? Okay.
You know what? I'm fortuitous.
Okay. Okay. So the only remedy to past discrimination is present discrimination. Why are you on slightly agree?
Well, how do we define present discrimination? How do we define that?
Well, how would you define it?
I don't really know. Let's see. Okay.
But you know enough to have moved.
Yes. I would think that to not try and undo our wrongs of the past, but try to move forward in a better way is not to continue to alienate groups of people as the way we've done in the past.
So you'd have to discriminate against them by definition of the question.
No, I don't think we should discriminate against them. Maybe I moved the wrong way.
Okay, you're free to move. You can move any way you want. You can move to neutral. You can move to. You want to move. You moved. Tell me, why did you move?
I'm kind of confused by the prompt, to be honest.
Okay, talk to me.
Well, I don't think you should discriminate against people, period. But I don't really know what defines past discrimination and present.
Okay, so let's say that there was slavery in this country, which there was. Mm-hmm. And the only way to remedy that discrimination is to discriminate against people in the present to make up for that. Oh my gosh, you've moved again. Wow, okay.
I think I need more time to think about it.
Okay, well, this is a free country. You have plenty of time. So we've had a lot of... Oh, and you decided to stay there. Yeah. Okay. What are you thinking?
So I guess I have to kind of explain myself because this can look bad if you take discrimination as kind of I've always thought of discrimination as sort of an unjust thing, which is why I'm hesitant to even be standing here in the first place. But if you look at discrimination as recognizing the differences between groups and how that affects them in a modern day, it's kind of unfair to treat everyone equally when just 100 years ago we put other groups of people at such an economic disadvantage, and in a system like capitalism and a market economy that we're in, the disadvantage that we've placed these people at has absolutely ruined them in today's economy. And so to not take that into account is kind of unfair.
Okay, what did you mean by unfair?
It's imbalanced. It puts people if you're born into an economically disadvantaged family, you have less of a chance at gaining economic success than if you...
Do you know that that's true, or is that speculation?
It's speculation, but I'm pretty sure.
Really? What about all the Nigerians who come here? What about all the Asians, the Koreans?
Well, I'm sure there's 1,000 examples of people who have broken this status quo. I mean, of course, you can find a million examples. I'm just saying the general trend, I feel in capitalism, is that the wealth stays kind of towards the top, and there's not a ton of motion overall in the system.
And to fix that, we need to discriminate against people now?
Well, I guess you kind of just have to take into account what's happened in the past and maybe work towards allowing people towards the bottom of your system. I'm not necessarily saying judge people based on skin color and things like that.
Okay. I think I have it. I'm trying to work through these. This is very complicated.
Tough question.
It is a tough question. But that's why we're asking it. If it was an easy question, there'd be no point in anybody's wasting anybody's time.
I know, right? This is good. This is good.
Yeah. So the only remedy to past discrimination is present discrimination. So why you moved? Tell me why you moved.
So firstly, I mean, I've experienced a decent amount of discrimination, period. I would say your slavery example is a really topical and a really useful kind of benefit for just this question. But I think in that sphere of discrimination, I just think generally all discrimination is bad. I think
all discrimination against people, because we discriminate against stuff. When you got that shake, which looks awesome, but I'm trying to cut back on my sugars. But when you got that, you discriminated against another shake. Like
I
another
think so.
flavor. So not all discrimination is bad. We're talking about discrimination against people, but we need some discrimination, don't we? I mean, we discriminate against blind people becoming airplane pilots.
I think choice discrimination is a really important thing to factor in. For example, yeah, you do not want a blind person to be an airplane pilot, just like you wouldn't want a person without hands to be your driver.
Correct.
I think that is a really important distinction to have. But I feel like the distinction that you're like postulating, I guess, like specifically in the like race, color.
That's how I was thinking about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that considering, especially being a POC, like considering other POCs and the discrimination that they're facing, I know personally it doesn't feel great to be discriminated against, especially.
And
on the basis
you
of-
said you have been.
Yeah.
Are you comfortable if I ask you about that or no?
I'm fine with it.
Will you? Can I ask how old you are?
I'm 19.
No, oh, you're a young guy. So you've experienced that in the last couple years here?
Yeah,
At here?
yeah, I'd say I've experienced it most recently, like this past term. Definitely throughout my life. For sure.
Positive or negative?
Definitely negative. I feel like most discrimination, especially the type of discrimination you're talking about here, at least for me, always feels negative.
Can you give me an example if that's if you're comfortable only if you're comfortable doing that?
Yeah, totally. I guess an example for me would be like earlier in my freshman year, I was part of an ARC, and one of the friend groups that I was part of, I would consider myself in that group to be an example of tokenism. It was like 8 people in the group, all of them white guys / girls. I'm the only POC in the group. Anytime we're talking about, and like this was a relatively like race forward, kind of progressive, thought forward group of people.
But that's why they did that.
Yeah. But I mean, feeling like when I think about it, the situation that I was in a year back, and I think about it now, feeling uncomfortable and agitated with being the prospect of that tokenism, really makes me feel sad.
That's super interesting. So they put you in the group because, to use your language, you're a POC.
Somewhat, yeah. Like again, I can notice other people in the group and them adopting other people into the group, but none of them being POCs. And
Okay,
it makes me feel sad.
Yeah,
honestly.
sure. Of course
Like,
it does. Yeah, sure.
'cause
Okay,
like,
so
you
I'm
know,
coming back to you. So, okay, so the only remedy to past discrimination is present discrimination. So if people have been discriminated against in the past, we can make up for that by discriminating against people right now. That's how I take that question. Everybody take that question that way? Is there anything that he said that would cause you to move one? Oh, you're moving. You move. Oh, look, you even followed the rule. You even followed the rule. Wow, everybody, this is amazing. Wow. Yeah, I'm very impressed. Okay, so tell me why you moved.
So I guess I was kind of thinking of this more as like an economic question, where I feel like you need to kind of compensate in a way for groups who have been like marginalized and are forced to the bottom of like our socioeconomic ladder. Like stuff like affirmative action I find is like at least a little bit important, because if people like don't have enough of a chance to like make
It's
it
a
in-
sign someone's listening to you. They want you to move. They want everybody to keep moving lines. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I feel like it's important to take into account people's backgrounds when like you think, okay, if nobody in a certain group of color is making it into a college, maybe you have a problem. And maybe you do need to compensate for that in some regards, even though it sounds kind of unfair to say, okay, we're giving you more of a chance based on your skin color. That feels bad to say, but I feel like its existence is still kind of important because you need to make sure you're giving everyone an equal chance.
Even if certain cultures have developed certain practices of like study, forbearance, work hard, working, prudence, stuff like that.
I mean, that's what kind of made me move to slightly agree, is because I'm realizing I don't want to look at it in that way. And when it says only, that makes me feel bad too. It's obviously not the only way to remedy past discrimination. I just feel like it has to be at least some part of it. So
Okay, does anybody think that's an idiotic statement? What do you think of that statement?
Idiotic.
Well, what do you think? What do you think of that statement?
I don't think it's productive, really, in talking about racism. I think that you need to uplift voices that have been marginalized for many, many years. But I don't know if playing on words with discrimination and, distinguishing what discrimination really means in that sense is productive.
Productive and possibly, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but could one say irresponsible?
Irresponsible in what sense?
I'm coming back to you. I'm coming back to you. We're gonna wrap it up pretty soon, but so you moved. So you're neutral. So you don't know what. So talk to me.
It took me a minute to kind of like articulate to me what this sentence meant, and I kind of looked at it at first in a way the only way to remedy past discrimination is to kind of uplift the groups that have been discriminated and like not discriminate them in a negative sense, but kind of discriminate them as bringing them into more importance in our society, and kind of, as he was saying, like uplift those voices that have been suppressed for so many
Okay,
years.
pause on that. I just want to say pause on that. So if you want to uplift them and bring them into society, let's say that you want to do that, but it comes at the expense of other people. Is that morally acceptable?
I would say no.
Okay, so then why aren't you on the slightly disagree line if that's your main
Maybe I
argument?
should move then.
This is a free country. If you want to move, I'm not going to tell you to move. You want to move. If you think your reason is justified and you staying on that line, stay there. If you don't, you're welcome to move either way.
I think I'm gonna move.
All right, you're going to move. Okay. A lot of moving here. Have you heard anybody over there say anything that would cause you to move to the slightly disagree? In other words, one line to the right.
Nah. If anything, I'm gonna move to the strongly disagree. But
Okay.
I feel pretty
Okay. What would
comfortable
it
here.
take? Okay. Well, let's talk about that for a second. What would it take to move you to the strongly disagree?
Honestly, I'm kind of on the verge of moving to the strongly disagree now. I think your question, especially about like the morality of undercutting one group of discriminated versus another group, and whether it's morally just or not, kind of makes me want to move there anyway. Like to the, I guess whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a free country, right?
It's a free country. Okay. Is everybody satisfied with the line they're on? No? Yep.
I kind of want to move to
Oh.
neutral.
Okay. Please go ahead. Oh, you're at neutral? Okay, now.
I think the reason why I'm at neutral is because I don't feel like I agree with the question in general, but I feel like if I don't agree with the question, I should be at disagree. But I don't really know. I think I'll just stay at neutral.
Okay, well, let's drill. If you don't agree with the question, it doesn't make any. Does it make sense to you to be on neutral?
You know, I don't. I guess not. I guess it makes sense for me to be on disagree.
Wow, this is. Wow. Okay. Well, this is really interesting. Okay. Well, thank you everybody for participating in this. So I do want to just tell you whose claim. This is not my claim. This is not my claim. This is Ibram X. Kendi's claim, the primary anti-racist in the country right now, one of the main anti-racists. And he's written that and spoken about that, and he believes that to remedy past discrimination, the example I gave was slavery, we have to discriminate against people moving forward. So, correct. It's going to take your mind a moment to think about that because I think we've all been hoodwinked by words. Yeah. Anti-racism doesn't mean what one thinks it does. Well, good. Was that fun? Did you guys get something out of that? Was that thought make you think about stuff?
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, thank you. I appreciate you guys playing the critical thinking game.